and she was fairly dejected and suffered from constant stomach aches and sleep issues, and it was a hard time.
Lassen is a very smiley boy. Always has been. As a baby, he just smiles all the time. I was starting to detect the smile leaving, which is the biggest fear as a parent, because once that smile starts leaving, you're going down a deep hole, and it's going to be very hard to lift them out.
There were a lot of nights that prior to Liberty, we sat down with him for homework, and it would end in tears 5 minutes into it, 10 minutes into it.
We knew something was going on from the very start, and I remember thinking at the beginning of every school year, from kindergarten on, this is going to be his year. This is when it's going to click for him. And the teachers we'd all at the beginning of the year have this session, and they'd get me all excited. This is going to be his year. So by the time 5th grade's coming around, and he's already been diagnosed, but we're starting to realize how severe it is.
And she was having a lot of behavioral issues, acting out at home, completely losing it, and really starting to struggle with some multiple subjects, actually.
Not only with reading and spelling, but also mathematics, and just that emotional state that you're in, that you know something's not right, but you can't explain what it is, and no one else can explain it either. So you kind of just get shoved through the system.
Parent-teacher conferences were a nightmare. I mean, I'd go there, they'd last at least 30 minutes, and it was all, your son is a year behind the rest of the kids. And in working with my child, I knew I was out of my league. There is just, if the goal is to read the word cat, I would explain it to him many times. Lassen, it's k-a-t. Okay, so you got it, right? And we'd go through, 15 minutes, and he'd assure me he had it. And then we'd get to the second part of the sentence, and it was as if he had never seen the word cat before in his life. And it was really frustrating, because if you're not dyslexic, you have no idea what it's like for this poor kid to read the word cat or any other word. And so parent-teacher conferences were a nightmare.
I couldn't figure out why I couldn't read. I had tried everything, hooked on phonics, and he couldn't tell me every single rule for reading, but when we would sit down to read even the simplest a Bob book, he couldn't sound out words. But I started him in 2nd grade math, and he could do math like crazy, but he couldn't read any story problems, so I'd have to read all the story problems to him. And
he seemed to do okay in math. He could really do mental math well, but reading was such a struggle, and it just took so much time. And started doing some right brain, left brain integration therapy stuff that I mean, just hours upon hours of research on my own, but we just always felt like we were hitting a wall, and at home it just became a stress for everybody. Nathan was stressed, I was stressed. I was spending probably 2 hours of just direct instruction with him while the rest of the household's, in chaos and needing me as well. And so I just really felt like I needed help.
She wasn't enjoying going to school. She didn't even want to go at all. She was complaining that kids were making fun of her because they were reading certain books and she was reading a different book, and they knew that it was not at the level they were at, so they would tease her about her reading and having to go off and come back, and they knew it was because she couldn't read. So there was a lot going on around that. So I think more than the academic part for us, it was the emotional component that we felt like we needed to get her in another environment quickly.
That sort of thing.
Didn't want to go to school, wasn't interested in learning at all. And that was the part that scared me the most. Because
Road. So yeah, we decided to enroll her, and she's a completely different kid this year. Just, you can tell she's so much more well-adjusted. And I think it really helped her to see that there were other kids like her that, don't see words the same way and who are otherwise intelligent. And it's just that she processes reading a little differently. Her brain works a little differently. And to see that that's okay.
We just saw a huge and dramatic and instant change when Abby went to Liberty School. Just that she really just seemed to be a little bit more settled and just content and confident.
Okay.
And we were just lucky enough to live in the same town that Liberty is in, because I know a lot of families actually travel to come to Liberty School. So we're pretty lucky to be here, and then also to get accepted through the application process. And it's been like night and day for us, issues now. Just seems like regular school issues at this point, but she wants to go to school, she gets up in the morning. I think the biggest indication of that is we had multiple tardies going to public school because I just couldn't get her to get going in the morning. No amount of, pushing or pleading or anything would get her going, and it's not an issue anymore.
That's fantastic. Does she-
Yeah, I mean, the stress level has gone down for all of us, because I'm not stressed about trying to get her up and motivated. I'm not worried about her mental health at this point. She's made progress, so she's obviously learning to read, and that was actually my least concern at that point. I was really actually more concerned about her mental health and getting her to a place to learn and be happy about it. So now that she's there, the rest is all gravy at this point. So it's just her being less stressed has caused the stress level for the whole family to go down. So, and that's great for me, because I have enough stress.
That's great. And when he got to Liberty, one of the things that we saw in him was this steady progression in his overall demeanor and his attitude towards school, to where now his self-confidence within an academic area is really elevated compared to what it used to be. So.
When we started at Liberty, or when we went to find out about it, the one thing I said to the administrator at that time was, I don't care what you teach my son, we're bringing him here for his heart, because I was tired of how his self-esteem was so low. And I said, I just want to save his heart more than anything. And I feel like Liberty has done that. It normalized his learning style for him, and it's helped him learn how to advocate for himself. And then along the way, he academically also has been catching up to his grade level, which is a nice bonus, but that wasn't even my whole intent. It was more an emotional save for him.
So it is totally catapulted Taylor into a place of, confidence. He doesn't feel stupid anymore. He has found something he loves to do with your film class and also a photography class. Those are his things. He's found those things, so that's the confidence piece. But also, he's been catapulted educationally. He's gone from being stuck at a first grade independent reading level. I think we're into 4th, 5th grade now, independent. It's just been an amazing year and a half for him. So I will get teary-eyed when I want to think about how far he's come and how I never thought he would be a kid who could just look out in the environment and read something for me. I never thought I would see that. So it's pretty amazing stuff. So
Through whatever hoops we needed to get into Liberty, and after him going to Liberty for like 5 years, I think he went to Liberty, 4 years, something like that. I listened to him talk about it one day, and he said, dyslexia isn't a problem, it's an ability, it's a way of thinking, and it doesn't have to be a problem if you get help. And he's like proud of telling people that he's dyslexic. And I remember just Mother's Day, it was Mother's Day one year, and he had been getting some help and with his reading, and at church they have these boards that show the words for the songs that we're singing. Instead of hymnals, we look up at these screens, and I remember looking over at him, and he's actually singing along and reading the words. And I asked him, I said, can you read those words? And he said, I can read some of them.
And I remember crying, thinking, that's the best present anybody ever gave me, was that my son was going to be okay and that he could read. And that's the day I decided I wanted to become a tutor, because I wanted to give that hope to other people. And so that led me to get my other son screened, who also is twice exceptional, and he came to Liberty as well, and it's the best place for us. You know, it gave us hope, and that's important.
This year, and I've seen, again with Nathan as well, a dramatic change. He's coming home really excited about what he's learning, and he's really excited about the progress that he's made. But he talks about the Liberty family, and he talks about the kids as if they're comrades. You know, they're not just friends, but they're all, and it's kind of almost like a homeschool model in that they interact. Everybody interacts with everybody. Everybody's different ages, everybody's different grades or stages of learning, and they all have strengths and weaknesses, and they're just different kids, and they can all interact and enjoy each other for who they are. It's comforting to know that he has a Liberty family that really is an amazing supportive environment.
You can see his self-confidence has completely grown, you know, being here. Like,
So once we got here, now she doesn't want to miss school at all. She's definitely had gains since she's been here in terms of her confidence. I think that was just the biggest part, because she had been so knocked down that she felt like she couldn't do things. And automatically, when she got here within the first month, just seeing how everybody says you can do this and everyone being in kind of the same boat, she was already showing that excitement that is Kira. So, so, but yeah, I mean, emotionally, across the board, she's back to being the person that we knew her to be, just personality-wise and confidence. She just kind of pushes through. She's excited every day to come to school. She asks not to miss school. She really wants to be here.
That's well put, a place to go with it, because I think that no matter whether you're dyslexic, gifted, or twice exceptional, a place to go with is what's been missing out of these kids' lives.
So, can't say enough about Liberty School.
Thank you.
All right.